Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with the Journalist. I'm Beck Bamberger, and we do this show because we want publicists to better understand how to work with journalists, not other publicists sometimes, but journalists, reporters, editors, all the people that make the media world go round, because we need to work together to make it all happen. And I'm very excited today because coming from his blue background, I want to talk about that, Jared, in just a second, is Jared Newman. He is a freelance technology journalist that covers many outlets and goes into and has a newsletter himself. So we're going to talk about that. He writes about all things tech. Jared, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Beck.
Yes. Okay, so first off, what's with the little blue in the background? Because I like it. Oh my God, is this like the dress thing? Is it actually blue? Or am I making
you mean like the walls?
Yeah, your walls.
Those are just the walls.
Okay, just making sure. There's just like a nice baby blue going on.
It is a nice baby blue. I don't know.
Okay.
That's how the office came when I moved in here, and I decided I kind of liked it. So
staying with
where we're
it.
at.
I love it. Okay. Jared, when we have freelancers on here, it's a little bit different of a game than when it's a reporter who's like, working at the one desk and they have the one beat and they're bombarded with lots of pitches and so forth. But you often have to send pitches, but you also probably get pitches. First, let's start with your inbox then. How does it look in there?
Not great. Well, actually,
Okay.
I keep a pretty clean
keep it tight?
inbox. I do. I'm not
Are you
exactly
a zero?
an inbox 0, but I'm like
Okay.
an inbox like 4. If that makes
Me too.
So,
I get to that a lot when I'm like, oh, it's only 4. That's very good for me.
Although actually today it's like inbox 30, because I try to be good about like I only go through like once every day.
Yeah.
So things pile up and then I go through and get rid of them. But I'm pretty good about like keeping things clean. And so I move things out when they're not relevant or not needed.
Okay. And by move things out, do you mean straight delete, or are you filing, or what are you doing?
Usually delete. Get a lot of bad pitches. So those I just delete. There's ones that I archive or move into like a potentially interesting folder, something like that, or like stories I'm working on folder. But I do a lot of deleting on site. Occasionally archive if it's like, oh, this person, I might need their contact info for later. But I do delete stuff.
Okay. And for those that you do the archiving with, tell us a little bit about how you go back to find those people, because this is a whole sleigh that I think publicists need to know more about, like having the keywords in there so that journalists can find easily, oh yeah, there's that expert on this. There's this resource that is why. And of course, if you can't search that easily, then forget it. It's gone.
Yeah.
So
usually for me, it's just like company association. Okay, I know this person represents this company. I might need to come back to them for something later, but it's not, a pitch that I'm working on right now or interested in. But just so that it's in my inbox and I don't get rid of it and lose that contact information.
Okay, good. What are your pitches looking like these days that you're receiving? Because you cover a wide spectrum.
Yeah, they're all over the place. A lot of AI.
Yeah, I imagine.
I don't think there's anything super different from what they usually are, which is a mix of mostly stuff that I am not interested in or wouldn't go for, and occasionally there's something interesting, which is usually just based on a company that we already covered or something like that, or really directly related to what. I mean, the thing that you probably heard this before, but as a freelancer, it's kind of, maybe it's an even higher bar than with a staff writer, because it has to be something that, to your point, I then have to like go justify.
You got to now pitch it
to somebody above me.
Yes.
And it's if it's just directly from a company's PR story, that's a pretty high bar.
That's a pretty no. You're quite active on LinkedIn, obviously, for those who are looking. I just 1 hour ago, you put something on vampire survivors with Epic Games today. So you said interesting right there with like, it is not interesting. Define a little bit more interesting, not just press release from publicists from a company. How would you describe interesting?
I don't think it's that complicated. It's just like, hey, I actually paid attention to what you cover, and this is, directly in that field of interest. So I do a lot of writing, not exclusively, but I do a lot of writing about like streaming TV and cord cutting and that kind of thing. I was probably one of the first people that really started writing about that whole field
Mm.
before everybody canceled their cable and all that.
Mm.
So those kind of pitches get, a lot of attention for me. A streaming service that's coming out with something, or somebody that I got a pitch from a company I'd never heard of that is selling an interesting device, and they wanted to see if I wanted to review it. So that was a good pitch. It's just highly relevant to what I write about. But those are rare.
Okay. What is really standing out to you where you're like, yes, that's a subject line I love and I want to open it, or just in general?
I just prefer like direct, I had a subject line that was just Unify News, and the Unify is YOUNIFI. It's a company. I've written about them before, and it literally is just the subject was company news, and that's it. And I opened it. Versus ones that, I got one that was like, was interesting. The company was kind of interesting. I ended up writing about them, but the headline was like, former Slingbox and Jawbone. It doesn't say executive, but I think that was implied. Former Slingbox Jawbone now tackling climate change, which is kind of misses the mark for me, because it's not about what the actual company is about, right? It's not about the product. It's just about kind of trying to do these associations. And I just prefer like direct. Tell me what the product is, so I know if I need to actually look at it or if it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah. Okay. So you said products. So tell us a little bit more about products that maybe are sparking your interest of late.
I'm always kind of focused on, the user of technology. I'm not so much business side. I do some of that for Fast Company. But even when I do that, it's kind of like, all right, well, how is that still relevant to somebody who uses the technology? So I'm always trying to help people be better technology users and get more out of it and understand what they're doing. That's what my newsletters are mostly about. So anything that I can tie back to that, a product that would be useful to somebody who is just a regular technology user,
just a regular consumer.
An app that solves a problem for somebody, a browser extension, a website, a device, a phone, something like that. That kind of stuff is gonna be interesting to me, versus like an expert talking about the implications of AI in 2026, kind of thing.
Yeah. Are you getting a bunch of those right now?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm sure. They're like, okay. Jared, a little bit to demystify the pitching process that you go through. Could you give us an example of that? You get a story, you go like, hey, I like this pitch, I could use this. What happens then?
I will, depends on the outlet, but for something like Fast Company, I might even, like, if it's short enough, just like copy the body of the pitch, and be like, hey, is this of interest? Or sometimes I might add a little spin to it if it's, it depends on, like, if it's like a product of interest and they're coming out with product news, that might just be more directly like, hey, is this worth covering? Versus sometimes it's a little more like, oh, this company is pitching this and kind of ties into some other stuff I've been thinking about, and maybe there's a story there that is, pulling on a few different threads. But I'll just go into Slack and hopefully we'll have a conversation about it that will.
Wait a second. So do you pitch via Slack to your editors?
Yeah. Because I'm freelance, but I'm kind of like contract for Fast Company and for PC World, and so both of those outlets I'm like in the Slack, and
awesome.
Have that kind of direct relationship with the editors.
That's efficient. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
How great is that?
If you can get that as a freelancer, don't let that go.
Yeah. I think you're the first I've heard say that. Just drop a Slack and see what wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
And just, I think, a showcase of how dominant Slack is. Everyone is on Slack, in my opinion. Maybe those on Teams and so forth, which I cannot stand Teams and all that crap. But for those in the current century, Slack is where it's at. So that's good to know.
I consider myself lucky that we all kind of moved to one thing. I think one of the outlets was on, like, what was like HipChat for a
Oh,
while,
I know,
something
I
like that,
know. I
which I
can't.
have a problem with it, but I just wanted,
It's just another
I have
thing
a
to.
Slack for my friend, like my high school friends, and then I have a Slack for newsletter subscribers, and I have a Slack that I'm in with some tech journalists, and so like just having that all in
Wait a
one
second.
place.
Wait a second. You have a Slack with your friends?
Yeah,
Not a text chat. You have a
no,
Slack with your
Slack.
high school
Uh-huh.
friends?
Yeah. I wrote an article about it once. It's great. I don't know, like
Oh, I didn't see that. When is this article? I didn't see this.
this was a
Oh, I was
while
going to say
ago.
I didn't go deep into the archives. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'll send it to you. But
Please.
I don't
I
know,
love
like
this.
there's something, I don't know exactly how it came up. I think it was because, a bunch of us were using Slack already for work, and I think what's kind of nice about it is that we have these like rooms, right? Like we have like a general room, we have like a video games room that some people are less tuned out of, and there's like a, music, like what music are you listening to room, and so we have these kind of threads that are, some people are more interested in some than others, so it kind of works out.
I kind of like that. It's a different adaptation to just the random text thread because some people will be like, I don't want to hear about the sports game. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, and you can
Oh,
have the threading and all that, and some of
oh,
us are Android people versus iPhone people, and so
same
we don't like to discriminate iMessage
with the
versus
green
Android.
versus the blue. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty cool. Okay. Jared, is there anything that bugs the crap out of you with publicists?
Probably everything you've heard before, like,
Yeah.
4 or 5 emails on the same thing. I don't love being called on the phone,
Oh,
personally. I think some people maybe do. I really don't.
uh, uh-huh.
It's mostly just because I see my email. Like I'm pretty good about email, and
Yeah,
and I see
you
everything that
got it.
comes through. Like
Yeah.
I don't really need the phone call, and I'd say like it's exceedingly rare that a phone call is gonna like put me over the edge.
Uh-huh.
And mostly I just don't even pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that annoys me.
I mean, I typically don't. If I don't know the number, no. Why would I? I get so
Long
much
long
spam.
pitches, like
Okay, long pitches.
yeah, like I need like, I don't know, 3 sentences or 3 paragraphs, 3 short paragraphs, and a link is good. I don't need like a whole. And also, I guess if we're getting into like the email pitch, just like the 10,000-foot view paragraph before that gets to like what you're actually pitching. Like if you're pitching a streaming service, I
Mhm.
don't need like a whole big thing about how people are streaming video more these days and getting more conscious about which streaming services they're paying for. Like I know that's what I do. I cover that already. I don't need the context. I just need the information about what you are pitching me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
On the opposite side, anything that you absolutely love?
Um, I like when I have a relationship with a relationship's a strong word, but
Yeah, you know the person. You know the person.
somebody that I know that, to the point, this email that I had mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
former Slingbox job on whatever. It's a person that goes way back, and I know that generally, if they're pitching me, it's something that's probably like at least worth a look.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and PR people that really go out of their way to get you what you need, you know.
Yes, efficiently and
Because
quickly.
sometimes I'm the one trying to get the PR person to set me up with an interview or give me a
Mhm.
certain information on a tight deadline or whatever, and
Mhm.
it's not always easy to find people that you know will help you out when you need it, and so
Yeah.
that
I
is
know.
that's always great when somebody, I'm like, that's a solid, that person did me a solid, like I'm gonna
Good.
remember that.
Good. Oh, good. Ooh, I think publicists need to hear that more of like, do that solid. Do the extra mile, do the extra, like, let me just get this to you, whatever it is, because yeah, you do remember. And not that we want to have tit for tat relationships back and forth, but you remember when someone helps you for sure.
I remember, I'm bad at remembering PR people's names,
Names. Yeah.
because there's so many pitches.
There's
But
so many.
I was at, do you remember E3, the video game?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think maybe it was like the first or second E3 that I went to, and I was like a nobody. I was writing for, a tiny blog. Um,
And
there
someone
was
paid attention to
there
you?
was one thing that I was trying to see this one video game. I was doing more video game stuff back then.
Uh-huh.
And like, a writer from like a big outlet came in and like cut the line, and I wasn't actually able to see this thing. So that was one experience.
Uh-huh.
And then there was like another experience where it was actually like the Sony booth, and this like one PR person was like, I'm just going to get you everything you need. I'm going to take you around and like make sure that you see all the specific things that you want to, like, she just was just like, I'm going
to adopt you.
Yeah. So I remember that person.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks,
It's like,
Jacqueline. Appreciate it.
yeah. See, look, you remember her name.
I was
Yes.
I was like, I don't know, 12 years ago. Something like that.
Wow. This is what I love. These are the impressions that you can make on someone that you don't even maybe know. Like, she might not even remember this, right, Jared? But
You probably
you
remember me,
remember this.
though.
And I love stories like that because there's people you impact in ways you're never going to know,
Mhm.
little tiny way. We're all helping each other out, or we're trying to, at least for the most part. And I love something like that because you're never going to forget her. Probably.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, you inferred a little bit on relationship building, Jared. Do you want to have relationships with publicists? You were saying like relationship's a hard word, but how does that kind of look for any relationship building for you?
I mean, I went to J school, so I was kind of trained to have a slightly antagonistic
Yeah, view
relationship,
of yes. Okay,
which is why, because like relationship's a strong word, because I
I
don't
know.
like it. There's a part of me that's always like, no, don't
Yeah,
do that. But we are ultimately like working together on some
we are.
capacity.
Yes.
You have things that you want, and I have things that I
Mm-hmm.
want, and we need to interact to make those things happen. And
That's the
so,
whole point of the show. Yes, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happens.
Okay. But could you elaborate a little bit more on just what does that? You're in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yep.
If someone's coming to town, do you ever want to get a coffee, or you're like, I just want to talk to you on email? Never call me, as you were mentioning.
Mhm.
Like, how does that? Let's not say relationship, but how does a correspondence ever
Yeah, like
happen with
the
you?
PR, like, let's get a coffee and just hang out
Yeah,
is not
I don't
something
know.
that super appealing to me. I
Okay.
mean, I don't know, like, I've done it here, and there's people that
Okay.
are here, um, just because it's so rare that there are people here. But
Yeah.
oftentimes, like, even I'll get something that's like, "Hey, let's catch up over the phone about, like, what you're covering and what you're interested in," and
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like that too much, just because
Okay.
I don't have the time really, like,
Yeah.
uh, and like the things that I'm interested in, I feel like are out there. You could just look at my coverage and you could
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, I feel like that's me. Uh, that's asking a lot of me, I guess. I don't know. That sounds stuck up, but that's kind
No,
of.
that's fine. That's fine. Jared, I have a rapid quiet question list that I'd love to
Oh,
tee up
great.
to you.
Hmm.
Shall we do it?
Yeah.
Okay. First one is, wait, let me go back to my little spot. Oh, yes. Video or phone interview?
Oh, yeah. Phone.
Phone.
It doesn't happen anymore, because
Yeah.
the thing is that I've been working from. This is maybe a longer answer than you want. I've
No,
been
that's fine.
working. I've been working from home since 2008 or whenever I started freelancing, and so video calling was not the standard for long distance interviews. And I kind of like the phone. I feel like I'm more relaxed when I'm asking questions. I don't have to worry about my posture or what I'm looking at or
Yes.
my appearance. I can just focus on the conversation.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that, but it's kind of gone away because now everybody just expects
I know.
to.
But
Yeah.
phone is, I'm finding, by the way, when I like get to have someone just on the phone, it's almost like this like new dimension. And you're like, oh, I'm just so into this voice. And I could like be looking at my books, and who cares? I'm looking over here. Like I could be, it's isn't that funny how that kind of
Yeah.
works?
I have kind of like a posture, right? When I'm on a kind of, like
Yeah,
this, or
exactly.
like
I could be
leaning
like,
over
who
my
cares? I'm
notepad kind of
I'm
thing.
emptying
And
the dishwasher. Okay.
yeah,
That's what I'm doing right now.
I
And
feel
it
more,
doesn't matter because you're
yeah,
good and you're on the call too. Okay.
yeah.
More calls, more calls. Bullet points or paragraphs in pitches?
Hmm. I don't think I have a strong opinion about that.
Hmm. Okay.
But short paragraphs.
Okay, short paragraphs, which is the
Yeah,
next question, short or long pitches and short. I want
short.
to do
Yeah.
short. Images attached or a Dropbox zip file?
Mm, okay, I'm gonna say Dropbox zip file, but don't put tracking links on it. That's another thing. I didn't mention that earlier.
Oh,
Don't
do
track my
elaborate.
email. Don't track that I opened it. Don't track that I clicked on it. Just don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. How do you know?
Mhm. Oh,
How,
how do I know that
yeah,
it's
yeah.
well, sometimes there's email. I used to have an extension that like blocked the open rate thing. Now I have a different
Oh,
extension that still does that, but it doesn't like
oh,
call it out explicitly when it's been detected. So I don't know that as much, but if I hover over a link in Gmail, I can see when it's going to the link versus like going through a bunch of tracking junk. So I can tell when
mm,
you're doing
hmm,
that. And
hmm.
sometimes I won't click on something because I see that that's happening, and that just annoys me. So
Oh, good tip. Okay, I haven't heard that one lately. Good.
yeah,
Email or Twitter DM or any DM, whatever, any DM,
email
email. One follow up or multiple?
one.
One and done. Direct or creative subject lines?
What do you mean?
Subjects.
Direct or
Yeah.
creative subject lines. Direct. Yeah, direct.
Yes. Do you ever want a press release or a media kit?
Um, I like a link. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I like that. If it's linked, I don't necessarily need it all in the email, but a short pitch that's like, here's more information. That's
Okay.
good.
Okay. Good. What about the time you read pitches, if at all? Is there a time?
When time permits, it doesn't really matter to
When
me.
time permits, yes.
Yeah.
Nighttime, daytime, all the time.
Wait, I just had another
Tell me.
pet peeve, but now I can't remember.
Mm.
No, it was in my head, and then it
Dang,
out of my head.
okay.
I'm sure that I'll think of it in a second.
Okay. Ugh, I hope so. We're wrapping up here.
Oh no.
Jared.
What was it? You can edit out this long silence.
That's all right. That's all
while I
right.
think about it. Oh man, this is killing me now because I thought about this before, and now I can't remember what it was. It's like right here.
Okay. Noodle on a little bit more and maybe that'll come out. Actually, this is my last question for you. Is there anything you want to tout, promote, discuss? I know we talked about newsletters earlier.
Yeah. I write a couple of newsletters.
Okay. Yes, you do.
Yeah, there's one that I write about streaming video and cord cutting.
Yep.
I've been helping people save money on TV for
A long time.
Yep. And then I have another one that is just tech advice,
Okay.
help you discover new apps and cool tricks and things like that. So if you just go to jarednewman.com,
You'll find it. You'll get all the stuff.
Sign up for both of them. That'd be very cool.
Cool.
I'm never going to be able to think about that thing, and it's
well, send me an email when you do. We can like script it in somehow.
Yeah.
Jared, thank you so much for being here today. This was so helpful. Now we know about tracking. Don't track the emails, everybody. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Jared Newman is a technology freelancer for multiple outlets, including Fast Company. Jared, happy holidays, all the things. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Beck. Appreciate it.